Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Oh, good. Okay, so let's start with meditation. So we're going to do more of a blended meditation of the one that we started with in the very beginning and adding to that the Ohm sound. So begin by taking a deep breath, closing your eyes so that they're just one slit open. And it's almost as though you're looking at your nose, but not really. But you want to remain just a little bit present to the external environment as you take a deep breath into the space just below the belly button, where it's a golden yellow. And as my friend Mika Caruso says, home base, safe place. And you can even put your hands over this energy center as you feel the center of gravity of your body just below your belly button. Breathe into that space. When your attention is here, you are fully grounded and present. And now gently allow your attention to drop all the way to the center of the earth. We are made of the earth. Our bodies are of the earth. And allow your tongue to just drop just above the gum line in your lower front teeth. And now from that line that's all the way to the center of the earth, you draw your attention upwards, out the top of your head, and up to the sky. And now we'll begin the Om meditation from the base of the spine up and out the top of the head. And you can visualize the energy coming out the top of the head like a wellspring that goes in 360 degrees direction, creating an egg shape around you. And this egg shape is semi-permeable. It lets in that which serves your highest best interests, and it blocks everything that does not serve your highest best interests. So we intentionally put that around ourselves so we are protected in our meditation. And all of our personal energy is inside that bubble. So we'll do the Om meditation sung 9 times, whispered 9 times, and then we watch the energy rise in silence 9 times. Then we just sit in the stillness for a few minutes. Oh.
Now say the syllables as you watch the energy rise inside silently.
Feel into the central channel and hold your attention there as you gently open your eyes a little bit further. Allow the light in. And hold your attention inside as you open your eyes completely. Welcome this morning. It's a cool, kind of cloudy day in Portland, much like we've been having all spring. It doesn't really seem like summer has come yet. How may we serve this morning? I'm still in my coffee mode. I hope you don't mind.
Dream time.
I see a number of you are also in coffee mode. Feel
So I
free.
had a dream. I'd like to dream.
Sorry, Paul?
Dream time. Had a dream I want to recount.
Oh, okay, please.
So
Can you get a little closer to your microphone because you're difficult to hear?
So I'm in a room. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but it's a little bit indistinct.
I'm in a room. Can you hear me now?
Yes, this is much better. Thank you.
And so there's a couch with shards of glass all over it. And there's two people in the room. Pretty sure it's two people. Don't know them. Don't know the gender. And I feel a need to clean the glass up. A strong urge to clean the glass up. And so I start putting the shards of glass in my mouth as there's no place to put it. And when my mouth is quite full of the glass, I ask the two people to finish up as I can't put any more glass in my mouth. And then I go to remove the glass shards from my mouth into a trash can, and as I'm finishing removing the glass, blood starts pouring out of my mouth and I wake up. So that's it.
So how did you feel when you woke up?
I got up, it was raining really hard, and I took a long walk. That's how I felt. I felt a need to just get out in the rain.
Actually, that tells me what you did, but not how you felt. The feeling is very important if you want to understand the quality that the dream is bringing you.
Well, I was a little disturbed by the blood, and it obviously woke me up. The main feeling was a need to clean up the mess on the couch, the glass mess on the couch. And obviously the blood was concerning and woke me up.
So did you wake up in a panic?
No.
Did you wake up afraid for your life?
No.
But you felt a need to get up and move away from where you had been sleeping.
Yeah.
Can you describe that sensation that you woke up with?
Restless.
So we'll ask you this: why did you feel it was your responsibility to take care of the glass? Where were you?
in an indistinct room that I didn't really recognize. I didn't recognize the couch. I didn't recognize the people, but I felt a real urge to clean up that mess on the couch.
And what would have happened if you didn't clean up that mess on the couch?
If people tried to sit on the couch, they'd get hurt. And there was a distinct feeling that the people that were in the room broke the glass on the couch and that they should be cleaning it up, but they weren't.
Well,
So
we're going to say that this is a dream that we would see as a tendency to take on the woes of the world that may or may not be your responsibility. And that you allow yourself to even be damaged by the feeling that you're the one who has to clean up the messes created by others. And that's a particularly, we would say, Christian view of things, that we allow ourselves to be harmed in service to others, that there's some benefit to martyrdom. And we don't necessarily agree that martyrdom is the correct choice in these circumstances. So we may or may not be true to what your experience is, but we are speaking about what we're experiencing as we hear you talk. And so we want to talk a bit about martyrdom because it's a very interesting choice for one to make in a situation. And it's very important that we view our lives as a demonstration of our belief system. And if we think that we can benefit the world by taking on the pain of others, well, that turns out not to work very well, because really all we can do in any situation is take care of our own pain. And in taking care of our own pain, we can be a demonstration of what it looks like and feels like to be a person who is willing and able to process their own pain, grief, and suffering into love. When we try to take on the pain and suffering of other people, we may be successful at doing that, but we don't help their pain and suffering at all, because they haven't learned what they need to learn from the experience. We have instead taken away their learning and made it ours when it's not really ours to begin with. So it gets very confusing about what we're doing. So when we understand that the only pain we can effectively transmute is our own, and that we can demonstrate how to transmute our own pain to others, but it does them no benefit for us to try to transmute their pain for them, because they just make more until they learn to transmute it themselves. So this is a really important thing to understand, and it shows the fallacy of martyrdom in spiritual practice. So we are of desire to help, so we can stand next to them while they're in their pain and be a support. But we cannot do their work for them and expect it to bring them benefit. And what it brings us is confusion. We end up bloody for no reason, and nothing changes. And we don't know how to feel in that circumstance because what we hope to accomplish, which is relieving suffering, didn't happen, and we end up in pain. And so that's very confusing. So it's important to understand that the best way we can help people is by being an example and being a grounded place that they can stand on while they do their own work. A place of non-judgment where they can see who they are in any moment, and we are reflecting that to them. But we neither take their pain nor judge it. We show them how to process it themselves. We stand next to them while they do it if we can. And we encourage them that they are more than able, and that this is the most beautiful life purpose anyone can have, is to transmute every bit of their pain into love. And this is an ongoing process, because it's not like pain once transmuted is gone forever. There are layers and layers of pain that, as we spiral down deeper and deeper into the core of ourselves, we resolve. And these pains can be from other lifetimes, other incarnations. We have no idea where they came from, and we don't need to know. All we need to know is that any kind of suffering that we're experiencing needs to be resolved into the harmony of love. That's all we really need to hang on to, is that teaching. And the understanding that we each have to do this. There is no one who is absolved from needing to do their own work. And there is no one who can do it for us. And there's a lot of confusion in spiritual circles about this. Now, what can happen is that as your energy field becomes more and more powerful, that can be a demonstration of what's possible. And it can help to ground the person in their moment of need, but it cannot do the work for them. So anything that we do that might temporarily cause an energetic shift needs to be absorbed and continued by the person to really grow through the experience. We hope that makes sense. Paul, any more questions or anything to add to that?
All good.
How may we serve further? We're so happy to be with you this morning. Feels like it's been forever since last week. How may we serve? Hmm. Brenda, anything? Andrew? I can say their names because they're here with me. They're guilty no matter what. Not that we believe in guilt. Actually, we don't. It's more like innocence being informed. That's how we think of it. We would say as long as there is life, there is hope. So we see the pain of relationship lost, hopes dashed. And what we want to say about that is in releasing a relationship that doesn't serve our highest best, in the discovery of that there is a great calm in the knowing that you are operating, serving your own highest best, and that in allowing what demonstrated itself to not be that, the space is created in the recovery of from the discovery that the potential was limited. The space is created for something more harmonious to arise. And so that having that happen within a period of months, rather than a period of years, is living in the truth of the moment, rather than living in the hope of the expectation of change that you yourself cannot have any control over. We hope that makes sense. So the pain is clearing the decks for something new, which of course will arise because creating a vacuum creates a space for newness, for new creativity. So what has been lost is the illusion. And we create these illusions because we want to be happy, which is really the whole point. Being happy is the whole point. And so, we create an illusion and it skates along for a while until it hits the truth and falls flat. And then there we are, flattened. And it's okay, because we've dropped the illusion and we've embraced the truth. And through that, we have a deeper understanding. And we all end up alone at our death. Every single one of us. So these moments are a practice for facing the truth. Nobody gets out of here alive. Truth. And even though we have some indications from people who have gone before us and come back, we don't really have any idea what happens when we die. All we know is it will be quite a bit different. And we have a suspicion that this isn't the highest place that living beings inhabit. And this is part of our mission to you, is to give you the understanding that this is a training ground. And that in some ways, we're absolutely making the best of a bad situation. And those moments of pure love that we share, these are the cherished moments. There is nothing finer than sharing love itself as it reveals itself to you, because you will not settle for less. And when we understand that any grief that we experience is the glove of love turned inside out, the grief of the love shared is still love. It's just its flip side. Not just, it is the flip side. And the place of equanimity is right in the center, allowing both the potency of pure joy of love and the potency of pure grief of loss, meeting in the center, in the stillness from which all experience arises. So we neither deny the grief nor cling to the love. We sit in the center, allowing what is to inform us. And in that center, is truth itself. Life is finite. Every moment is precious. Every moment is precious, no matter how painful, no matter how joyous, or where it is on the spectrum in between. Every moment is precious because life itself is precious. And in this understanding, judgment begins to fall away because the intensity of pain is still life. The intensity of pleasure is life. Clinging to one or the other is delusion. So we neither run from or run toward. We just allow life to inform us moment to moment as we become ever more expanded every time our heart breaks. We do not search for the heartbreak, but we do not run from it. We allow ourselves to feel the pain, deeply experience the pain, however long it takes. We feel the pain. And in complete acceptance of that pain, there is a moment where it shifts to love and the pain disappears. That's the moment when we have broken open or been broken open. We don't get to choose that moment. We can only choose to allow the pain and to let it change us. And then one day we wake up to a different experience. However long it takes for that pain to process through us. So we seek neither pain nor pleasure. We just embrace what is. No just. We embrace what is in the moment. Sometimes it's a mixture of both. We can't tell. And this is why cultivating our feeling, our energetic experience of every moment has value. Because it is through this allowing of intense feeling that our perception expands, our energetic awareness of what the source of life is begins to inform us. Because we can't know life itself from our matrix of belief. Our matrix of belief only reflects our past. So we can't know life from our mind, our rational mind, because life itself defies logic. And our rational mind is three-dimensional in its perception. But allowing ourselves to be informed brings in another dimension of awareness. Which we will say is extrasensory because it's not one of the 5 material senses. But it is a gift that all of humanity shares, not just 1 in a billion. This capacity to allow ourselves to experience our life, our beingness beyond the 3-dimensional descriptive language-based reality that we are encouraged to believe is the only functioning perception of reality in our daily life. If human beings were icebergs, we would say that the superficial that pokes out above the water is the 3-dimensional reality. What a human being really is and comes from is all that which is below the water, which we know to be much, much greater than the physical view on the surface. And in some ways, our experience of ourselves is like that iceberg until we melt our 3-dimensional perspective and allow it to dissolve around us so that we can experience the higher and finer energies that are available beyond our 5 senses. Then we are limited, we are frozen. Our hearts are waiting to be opened, waiting for us to allow the 3-dimensional trap, the caged awareness, waiting for that to dissolve so that we can experience ever higher and finer connection to the all that is the source of every living thing, every cell that lives. And everyone on this call has experienced that. That's what draws us back and back and back to our inner, to the deeper breath, beyond the frozen parts. As we feel into our beingness, which is experienced beyond language. The place beyond matrix of belief. Where samsara and nirvana are the same. Experiencing itself throughout time and space. Which are one and the same beyond 3-dimensional reality. How may we serve further this morning? We're trying very hard not to say names. We know we already blew it this morning, but Brenda's saying, oop. Yes. So even if the name pops out, rest assured it will not be there for posterity. And none of your pictures will ever be seen on the internet in this context. We promise.
Good morning.
Hi.
You know who I am. I won't say my name.
So happy to see you.
Thank you. You too. I have a question.
Mhm.
When we go to the Anasa temple to deliver a message to anyone that we can't speak directly to, is the message always received because you're speaking to their highest self, or do they have to be open in some way to receive that message still, even though you're speaking to their highest self?
Speaking to their highest self is speaking to the part of them that is open to the highest.
Okay.
And so the important thing is that you invite the person and you wait for them to appear. You invite their highest self will appear. If their highest self does not appear, that usually means that your highest self has not come, because they operate in equilibrium to each other. So if your intention is not yet your highest, then they might not come. We have never seen them not come to highest intention. Highest intention relates to highest intention. So it may mean that you yourself have to go back to the drawing board with your statement and inquire into yourself, is this the highest that's possible? And so it's all a learning. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to share your experience, we would love to hear it, but it's not required.
I'll let you know.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for coming. How may we serve further?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Almost said your name. Because we're so joyful to hear from you.
Yeah, same.
Mm.
Something that was coming up while you were talking was this understanding that my relational style to those periods where you're shedding a lot of stuff and parts of you are like kind of dying and then being reborn and turning into something else, that started thinking of it as like molting.
Absolutely.
Birds molt.
Yes, and you can even use the analogy of the butterfly in the cocoon and the stages of the metamorphosis. This is very, analogous to spiritual growth, that the caterpillar goes along thinking that being a caterpillar is what it is. And then suddenly the chrysalis happens. and the internal destruction, complete destruction. And we imagine that hurts quite a bit. Because you dissolve from the inside out and something new is created. And this is very much what spiritual death and rebirth is like. And you have no idea whether you're going to be a toad or a butterfly. It's only faith. It's only faith. And really, you know, the only place for faith is in the beginning, when you're first starting and you have no experience of transmutation. Then it takes the faith in the possibility that something higher is available. And the truth is, what other choice do we have? We know that if we don't do the work, we're going to spiral down. It's just going to happen. That's what gravity is about. And gravity is, you know, multidimensional in its effects. If we don't consistently cultivate the highest, then we don't consistently cultivate the highest and something else happens. But the highest requires attention. Cultivating the highest requires our best attention and intention. And there are stages of it that's not exactly the description that fits. But most of the time, we can assume that our attention and intention is required to greet every day and process everything we run into in the highest, best light that we can manage. Because consider our options. There is not a better one you can come up with, no matter what. Which is not, you know, that's the worst way to look at it. The best way is that we've been given this incredible opportunity to cultivate something higher and finer than most people have any idea even exists. And one touch, one whiff of that open heart makes us a slave to that forever. Because love is beyond imagination. And cultivating that flow with everybody you meet, what greater gift can there be than that? And it means that, you know, every so often you fall on your nose, because that's just what happens with life. And that's also a gift, because that's how we become ground up and opened further to be able to transmit and transmute more of our own experience and help those who haven't turned the page to where we are yet. Everybody's on the journey. And that's all we have to say. There is nobody excluded. And there's nobody who's so high that they don't make mistakes. So what we worship is love itself, divinity itself, source energy itself. And there are human beings who can help us. And we're extremely grateful when we meet those human beings. And sometimes they come and go, and that's okay. Everything comes and goes. There is nothing about life that is not temporary. And so we welcome whatever comes in as what is our inheritance in the moment. We'll call it that. And we do our best with all of it, whatever it is. It's like, oh my, what is this about? Oh, and we just move forward with as much love as we can possibly muster to every experience that we have. We totally forgot what you asked. Did we get anywhere close?
Yeah, I nailed it. Thank you.
Oh, you are so welcome. We have had to give up on linear thought. Let's see, we've had to teach Rebecca to give up on linear thought part of the time, maybe even most of the time. Because life itself is completely irrational. And love, there is a logic to love, but it's not the kind of logic that we think of as rational. And we can say this much: love attracts itself to itself. So the more we can be in that, the more we can be in that. See how illogical it is? It doesn't even make any sense when we say it. The more we can be in that, the more we can be in that. That makes no sense, but that is the truth. So it all turns into kind of a magical joke, because it is magic. Magic, mystery, miracle, hand in hand. This is what our life becomes. And you know, we're all raised in a garbage heap. It's so don't be surprised when you wake up and it smells funny. It's our work. We are completely human in our experience of this love. And to expect ourselves to be otherwise is delusion. And then the magic, mystery, and miracle arises. But still, we can't exactly take credit for it, you know, because who's worthy? Have you ever met anyone? People may appear to be, but you know, nobody's worthy. We're all messed up. Every single one of us. And so when we acknowledge that, we can live in the truth. We don't have to deny anything. And we continually do our best. And our understanding refines itself over time. And we just continue to do our best. And the most important thing is to tell the truth always to ourselves. The second we begin to lie to ourselves, we're in deep trouble. Because then we start pretending. And that means it's no surprise when we make mistakes. Because to tell you the truth, we don't even know what perfection is. Because there's so much beauty in imperfection. When it's accepted for what it is, who's ever seen anything perfect? Only machines make things perfect. And we are not that. So it's hard to expect something that we don't have a definition for. But that's 3D reality, is expecting a definition. How can you define the all of the all that is? That sentence doesn't make any sense, the all of the all that is. And yet when we reach into ourselves, we know exactly what we're talking about. The vast, vast awareness of life itself. Again, another nonsensical statement. Three-dimensional reality cannot contain. That which is beyond our sensory perception, and yet it is so potent, rich, and living. How may we serve further?
Could I ask another question?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm always, as a teacher, thinking of translating this information to parents and little ones. Can you offer any words that would be helpful for them to receive this information? It's so important.
Yes.
That we can get this information down as low as we can to the littles and the parents who are raising the littles.
Well, the little ones are so full of fantasy and so easy at it, you know, fairies and fairy dust. Love is fairy dust. Simple. So they can dust everything with love in their lives. Fairy dust and love become immutable. Because they just know what that is, because they are it. They're easy, they're still in dream time. Parents, Fairy dust doesn't make it, because that's fantasy world. And, you know, parents are by and large stuck in three-dimensional reality, thinking that the highest they can offer is grounded three-dimensional awareness to their children. So respect must be paid to that model in any delivery. And so that limitation on the speech creates your dilemma. So the words you can use are experiencing nature,
Mm.
allowing the child to experience the creative side of their beingness that children in particular have access to. And again, speak in terms of fairies rather than religion or spirituality. Use historical fantasy metaphors
Mm.
that are
Mhm.
more socially acceptable than religion or spirituality at this moment in time.
So
it's
storytelling.
yes, yes. And that what you're cultivating is
Mm.
the creativity that doesn't want to
Mhm.
be lost from childhood. So if you put
Right.
it in those terms, then you're in safe territory. Because every parent would wish that their child maintain their childish creativity well into adulthood and beyond. And so
Wonderful.
if you speak of it in those terms, that can be positive.
Mhm.
And anything that makes you feel like you're shooting yourself in the foot, that's not good. So you already know. You already
do.
know the range, and you can feel the possibility. There's just this layer where you can label it as maintaining access to fantasy and creativity so that the artistic part of the person is cultivated from a very young age.
Right. The word that came to my mind, which isn't 100% right, is bypass. Like, I don't want to undermine anyone, but I also want to try and bypass the matrix of beliefs
Right.
somehow.
So sticking to words like creativity, you know,
Mhm.
supporting creativity
Mhm.
and that. But anything spiritual and religious is just going to make parents crazy.
Mhm. Thank you.
You're welcome. Mhm.
Mhm.
Mm. We're glad this is coming back for you. How may we serve further? So we have a question. You know, most of you have been here for a while listening to us speak. And we're considering having Rebecca put this into a book. These sessions, they kind of lend themselves. Do you think that would be valuable to you? Okay. Okay. Well, okay. So we've been doing this a couple of years, and it seems to be evolving So we may have book one. So if anyone wants to participate in making that into a reality, we could use help. We have everything available on YouTube in YouTube format, so it can be downloaded into script. So there's a lot of collating and editing and so, you can always, how to find us if you want to help. So that's a thought. So I guess it's time to meditate. Fun. So what we're going to do is just start where we left off with our early meditation. And however you want to bring yourself into this space, and we will be transmuting from Anasa Central. Thank you so much for being here. We are so happy to be with you. So much love to you. Till next week. Or Thursday night meditation. Wednesday night, sorry. No 3D reality here. Wednesday night meditation. So much love to you all. Bye.